Hey guys, it's your girls Neesh and Tiff. Now before you go any further, please like our video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel to see more of our content. Now let's get into this video. Today we had the pleasure of interviewing the one and only Jessica from Harlem Chocolate Factory. Here's a small glimpse of the inside, and check out this interview.
And this is Tiff.
And we're on the move. Today we're at Harlem Chocolate Factory with
Jessica.
So Jessica, thank you so much for having us here.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure. I've been wanting to come here for a few years now.
Yeah.
And we thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much. I get it. The business it gets busy on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So thank you for even just clearing the space so that we can have this time to talk with you.
Absolutely.
And have our delicious snacks uninterrupted.
So you ready to answer some questions?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's get to it.
All right. So the first thing we want to know, because I'm sure a lot of people already know, but we're becoming more familiar, so we want to know what inspired you to become a chocolatier, and how did you get into business for yourself,
Yeah.
and when did you become a business owner?
Yeah. So, if we look at like my whole journey, right? Like I've always worked with chocolate and sweets and snacks as a way to eat them. That was the goal. So I've been doing this since I was a little kid.
Okay.
Professionally, I attempted to start a chocolate company when I was in college because I had been working on chocolates like for forever, and I could make professional chocolates at that time, but I just didn't have the business acumen. And so starting this specific business, I started this business in 2014 and called one of my best friends and was like, hey, will you join the ride with me? Because I just knew that I was building a business more than just kind of indulging in my own idea.
Right.
So the training has just always been there personally, and then as I started to build this business, I went for more professional training. It's actually really hard to get specific chocolate training. You can train in all pastry, and I just wanted to focus on chocolate. So I've done that. I've worked with some of the world chocolate masters, and if they give me the okay, I feel confident enough. So I mean, technically it would be self-taught, but I don't think that makes what I'm doing any less valuable.
Right.
But sometimes, sometimes it can feel like that or feel intimidating.
Right.
But hey, I've been here 10 years, so I guess I ain't doing too
That's
bad, huh?
challenging.
And the anniversary of the day that you opened this
Yeah.
location is Valentine's Day.
Yes, we opened up Valentine's Day in 2018, so this year we'll make 7 years.
Nice.
So it's a nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. Trying to figure out what we're doing. We just be so tired. Like people like, you want to celebrate with sleep.
Right. Yes.
That's the best reward.
Yes.
Sleep.
And
Doing business for yourself.
I don't like to talk about the men because they're our biggest supporters on that day. But if y'all could just come in a little bit earlier, we would appreciate it. Because this year I'm closing the door. Okay.
Right. So you do get a lot of last minute. Oh man, let me get this.
We close at 8.
That's amazing though. They come here.
8:01 when we cleaning up or trying to get. Please don't close. I would be homeless if you close. I'm like, if you was already on the line, brother, you probably shouldn't have played that game.
That's
Yes.
But they know they can't go home with
They
that
can't-
Russell.
Yeah.
Russell stuff. No shame, but they can't go home.
No,
Yeah, they can't go home with that.
So,
This is-
but I got a bleeding heart, so I wound up staying open anyway. But this year, I'm treating myself.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm going out and I'm getting up out of here.
Right.
So I don't care who calls.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Everybody else leaving too. They got people. So, but I'm leaving.
But that's what makes businesses like this special, because you can't go to the diver and say, well, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to call out other businesses.
Well, they're no longer open, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
They
Well,
no
you
longer
can't-
have any stores.
Gotcha. You
No
can't-
shade to them.
No shade, no shade. But you can't go to just any chocolate place and say, just 1 more minute or just 5 more minutes. When they
Right.
close, they
They
close.
close,
But
yeah.
you have businesses in the community like Miss Jessica here,
Right.
who care about the people in the community
Yeah.
and will stay open to serve her community. So
Right.
that's what makes places like
Yeah, I don't want nobody to be homeless on Valentine's
know,
Day.
Yeah, me either.
That sounds like it sucks.
Yeah.
See, like, and really, what I really think about is the partner, right? Like, if you are afraid of becoming homeless, that the person who is at home is probably on edge and deserves something. So even if it's done out of this really whack kind of like whatever, sis already suffering enough, so she might as well get some chocolate. You know what I'm saying? My tax though, let me tell you something. If I stay over there for 8, it's a fee on a fee on a fee on a fee. So you better come with that cash money.
That's right.
Okay? Because you're paying.
Get here early.
Get here early or I'm taxing. I'm taxing after 8. I'm taxing. Every minute I get away from mom, that's my time. So,
and it's Valentine's Day.
get ready to get taxed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Jessica, what are some positive things you've experienced being an entrepreneur as a Black woman?
Some of the positive things, I think moments like this, right?
Yeah.
That I can be a support or just a part of the experience to further where we can go, you know, and being, I think like a lot of the times we suffer from lack of visioning because we haven't seen ourselves in certain places.
Yeah.
And so getting a chance to be a part of that image or just a part of a person's imagination about where they could go or how they could do something, I think that's probably the most positive thing. And supporting other Black women who are entrepreneurs, I do that, and you know, I can't speak for every Black woman, and I don't try to, but I know that I've been granted like a gift of stubbornness in a way that, and not caring in a way that a lot of other women have to navigate the world as, and it allows me to show up in rooms and be myself authentically and represent us in a specific way, and not be afraid to share things that we might be going through. So it's like, those are probably like the most positive things, like when we can affect change for other people, other women. And I've been a part of like program creations for Black women, and I do a lot of educational content and stuff that is targeted towards Black women. And so anyway, I can impact us, because this is how we, you know, raise the community. So.
Yeah, and it can be intimidating because like when you hear of a Black woman and like, you know, they started off kind of like us, it's like it's attainable. Most times we think we can't get there, oh, it'll never happen. But then when you have someone that's willing to share their experiences, it kind of pours into you, because then you kind of like have to get out of your head. You deal with doubt, you deal with a whole bunch of stuff. And then when you have someone that's 5 steps ahead of you and they're willing to share their experience, it kind of like gives you that passion and motivation to keep going and not give up. So so I agree, I love it.
And I haven't done everything right. I like to share the things I've done wrong, just so they can't. We shouldn't all be making the same mistakes. Make some new ones. Make some new ones. And that's
but
the
it
goal.
helps when you share, because sometimes we all might be making the same mistake at once, and it takes one person to say, all right now, let's get it together. So, you know, it's helpful.
And that's how you learn, by making mistakes.
Yeah,
you know?
That's how you build community, because you lead by example, and then you're willing to help the next person get to the next step, because you're 2 steps ahead, you know?
That's what I'm trying to do.
I love it. Thank you. Okay. So, Jessica, I learned on your website that you and your mom created a special bond over chocolate.
Yes.
So, is there ever time you bite into a piece of a chocolate, truffle, chocolate bar, cookies, sip some cocoa, and a special memory comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think so many different memories are triggered by food, right? Like food is that one tying cultural experience, right? That evokes not only a emotional response, but a physical one, right? And so I think that's why we chose chocolate as a vehicle for, like, this is a cultural expression in a chocolate, right? Like, and so there's so many times that I can think of something. I told you I was just eating with Chef Melvin,
Right.
that owns Harlem Biscuit Company.
Shout out to Harlem Biscuit Company. We had our breakfast earlier there.
And he made us some greens with, it's like greens on a bed of cornbread, and it just soaks up the pot. Let me tell you something. I bit into that. No, I bit into that, and I could smell my grandmother.
Oh,
the
nostalgia.
That is. I'm like, no, like. You can eat something and sometimes you can smell a smell. You can have an experience and it can bring you into that moment. And so,
and you can envision it. It was like your partner Asha. She couldn't be with us today. Asha.
Hi, Asha.
Maybe one day we'll get
Thank
to
you
meet.
for taking the time to talk with me earlier, because she definitely was really sweet. Took the time to say, you know, what it was.
She's a nice person.
Yes. I was like, I'm surprising my friend. She's like, of course. So yeah, Xavier, I was getting on his nerves from earlier this week too. I was like, thank God they remember me. Today.
So the question I want to ask, I want to make sure I say it correctly. Asha is the business side of?
she's our operations officer. She's our chief operations officer.
Okay.
I think like the way it's easy for people like, oh, Jess is the creative and then someone's the business. No, we're all in business, right? Like there's not a single creative point that has to come that gets placed above the money. So I'm not a creative for creation's sake. Like just because it's cute, we're gonna make something that doesn't make sense. Like that's not
right.
I'm not headed to clouds. So like, but what Aisha brings and she has is like she's a beast in logistics and in facilitating like our corporate partnerships and how that our gifting program works, which is like half of our business, you know, and more. And she's just been growing in that role in that position, and she has so many. You know, when I first called her when we were starting this thing, it was because she had been working in corporate events, and so I was like, those things annoy me, right? Like you start getting too picky and too whatever. Like I can make it happen. But I'm gonna be annoyed. Right. She's just like, she can think the whole event through because she just knows. So like sometimes someone will call us from a corporate event and be like, oh, this is what I want. And she's like, well, you haven't considered your temperature, how you're gonna serve it, what you're gonna do. Wow. And she just can come up with a more robust system for them. And like she just knows that world in and out, where I wouldn't think about it at all. Like I wouldn't think to ask whether or not y'all have an entryway that requires me to have a certificate of insurance. Like, I'm gonna just show up.
I know
like, you know, like that's just that's not my strong suit. So she's always made sure, like, you know, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Right. So like, you know, we're both in business, and we're both on business side, just in different arenas, right? Like that's her arena, and she does it seamlessly and flawlessly, and I'm on this side. My side has a lot of creative, but then she has creative things too. Like she has to develop. You know, everybody want a lookbook. They want to look like they want. You know what I'm saying? Like these things have to constantly be made and parsed out, and newsletters and all that stuff. That my brain, I'll get too tedious on it. Like, what's that? Is that shade of black, true black? Like, you know, like I'm no good there. She was like, and so
And can I just jump in and touch on the certificate of insurance? If they have a whole event plan, and they didn't correspond with the vendors to secure that certificate of insurance, that's it.
That's it. The event is done. You can't bring nothing in
because that's the liability insurance. So if they have equipment or whatever, they can't get hurt. It protects them. So, and I learned that. That's what you said. I was like, oh, right.
Yeah, somebody got to check for that. Those things.
If you have press and they have camera equipment, they're not. If you have everything done, and the last thing you did was not ask them, do you have a certificate of insurance? If you have it up to date, and if you bring it with you, your event is done. You can't even go. They will not letting you
They're
go
not
forward.
letting you go forward. You're not
Yeah.
getting into the building,
Yep.
you know.
You have to cancel it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. It's a waste business. Employees, food, everything. So, yeah.
They won't let it in. So, you know, you need somebody to make sure all that stuff is
Yep.
handled. And I knew I ain't know.
Yeah.
Like I'll be focused on other things, and it's just too much. And that's why it's so important to have partnership in world. Like, humans are not meant to do things in a solitary way, and there's no way to get through it. So, you know, this thing that people oftentimes like attribute to me, it's like, it's not, you know, like, it's us, right? Like, it's all of us. It's everyone who's ever put their hands here, whether they are here now or not, like, right? Like, everyone has had a hand in pushing this in any direction. And, you know, and with God's grace, it's been forward, you know what I'm saying? And so we just continue to just trudge through and make it happen with, you know, making $1 out of 15 cents. You know?
Yeah.
So it's safe to say that you, Asha, people work here, you're all a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, that's what
Chocolate heaven.
Yeah, chocolate family.
that's what we try. That's what we strive for.
Right.
We want to just show that, like, and we hope we are able to get there. Right? Is that, like, companies can be built differently.
Yes.
There are certain standards of business that are unavoidable, but there's a way to do this. And even when you get it wrong, right? Like, I've gotten so much wrong. I've done wrong, right? Like, I'm not proud of every single thing I've done. I never had an ill intention in my life, but it doesn't mean that people haven't been impacted by decisions or the choices or anything. But I still think that there's a way to build these companies differently. You know, like, this is just, capitalism is just a system, and all systems are only as good as the people in them. And so, like, we could build this to function differently, rather than saying, like, oh, the system. No. We gotta build stuff differently. And we'll see, right? Because I could be wrong.
But that's another way you learn. So
Yeah,
you
right.
might be wrong, you might be right.
Yeah.
But your vision is just, you know, it's seated in positivity. So you can't go wrong just because, you know, things work out. It just may not have been the right time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
So once again, guys, we are here with Jessica at Harlem Chocolate Factory. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you,
Absolutely.
Jessica.
Absolutely, anytime.
Yes,
This was
shout out to
wonderful.
Asha.
Yeah.
Yes, shout out to Asha.
Yes.
And Xavier.
Yes,
right?
Xavier was so patient.
And the other guy.
Thank you. He's focused with that.
Yeah.
Cookies, honey.
Jeff. They're back there
Thank
working
you,
hard.
Jeff.
we placed a lot of orders.
Girl.
But thank you so much for having us. We appreciate your time.
Yes, we do.
You know, you gotta go.
Yeah.
We will be back. We will have
Yeah.
seasonal visits.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love the feel of home. It just feels
that's-
good in here.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
we
we're
will be
striving
back.
for.
Yeah.
That's what we're striving for.
Yeah, and we're familiarizing ourselves. We come to Harlem for some events, but we're getting more familiar. Like, even when I got off the bus, I was like, oh, I used to at a side hustle where I used to clean, and I used to clean up the block. So I was like, oh, so we're familiarizing ourselves. Where when we get out here, we're like, oh, we're gonna go check Asha and Jessica, and go down the block, check Pernell and his biscuits, and just be outside. So, and I love
We got a lot of dope spots.
Yes.
A lot.
The road across the street, food.
Really?
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Saying bye from Harlem Chocolate Factory.
Thank you, everyone. Harlem, thank you for your love. Harlem Chocolate Factory, Asha, Jessica, Xavier, Jeff, we love you, and we will be back.
We are extremely appreciative of the opportunity to interview Jessica and support Harlem Chocolate Factory. And the next time you're in Harlem, we hope you do the same thing. I promise you won't regret it. Till next time.